Oh, what up, everybody? Yeah, it's been a minute, but we're back on YouTube, and I'll start going live every day or a couple times a day. So don't worry, you're gonna get plenty of content. Brian Stavely first. Go check out Brian on YouTube. He is a legend. What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Yeah. All right, so quite a bit of stuff I want to just cover today. I'm gonna go through it pretty quick. A whole bunch of random stuff, no particular theme. So to start off, we're on the brink of YouTube really doubling down on censorship or backing off. So this is my D Live. So everyone go follow there in case I get kicked off. Witsit Gets It on D Live. All right, moving on. Hopefully audio is good, everything, blah, blah, blah. All right, someone DM'd me this on Discord. It's kind of cool, I guess, so we'll check it out.
Falsify the radius. That means if the radius isn't real, the whole model isn't real. Gravity falls apart, orbital gravity falls apart, and the entire heliocentric model crumbles in on itself immediately when you rip the radius out. But we have falsified the radius. With the radius, the claim of the size, deduced from the circumference of 24,091, we have made observations that are legally impossible. Based on geometry of a sphere, it goes down and away from you. This is necessitated inherently based on the sphere. We know horizon is where the sky appears to meet the ground, so it does fluctuate based on atmospheric condition. Perception is relative to the atmospheric condition, and so of course it fluctuates. It never reaches a distance that is literally impossible on the globe Earth that falsifies the claim of the physicality of the Jupiter horizon. And that's the point. It's just the times that we see too far, those literally could never happen on a globe Earth.
So pretty cool. So moving on. I uploaded this. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. I uploaded this earlier today. So we'll check out what this crazy lady, the Chicago mayor, has to say. She doesn't really mince words.
So you're going to eliminate that compliance and you make a mandate, and then you do training, particularly in the city. I'll call them licensing departments, whether it's zoning, buildings, housing will be impacted by it, planning certainly, and you pick the people to run those agencies and the deputies that are pledging allegiance to the New World Order.
And What is this frog-looking lady talking about, bro? Who chose this lady? Y'all deserve this, to be honest.
And you pick the people to run those agencies and the deputies that are pledging allegiance to the New World Order and good governance. And then I think you have the Inspector General do some spot audits to make sure that there is real compliance.
Yeah, what a cool story. All right. Someone said post link in the chat. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can tell they're obviously just coming right out and saying it now. Pledge allegiance to the New World Order, like that's not a crazy person thing to say. Like we live in clown world, like legit. All right, I'm throwing D Live. link in the chat. All right, so moving on. I don't think that much needs to be said about that. I wouldn't think. She's a crazy person. She's probably operating at under 100 IQ. She looks like a frog, and apparently someone told her that she has some say in what goes on in our life, and stupid people, also probably operating not particularly high on the cognitive spectrum, voted her in. And yeah, she's just a crazy person. I don't really think that needs to be explained. If you think that she's a good mayor, get off my stream, please. All right, moving on. Little Grabbler news. Your boy Netanyahu suggests microchipping children. Not that this comes as much as a surprise either. Yeah, you know, the Grabblers are crazy, but he's just coming straight out and saying it. So let's take a look at this. Israeli Prime Minister Super Mega Grabbler is under fire for suggesting that all children in his country be microchipped in order to help ensure they are observing proper social distancing when schools open back as the nationwide lockdown is seized. Speaking at a press conference Monday, but only now reporting in the Israeli media, also known as the U.S. media as well, the premier said the health ministry could use RFID chip technology to help enact social distancing. He said that the legislation proposed and the whatever would allow for microchipping the entire population. I spoke with our heads of technology in order to find measures Israel is good at, such as sensors. For instance, every person, every kid, I want it on kids first, would have a sensor that would sound an alarm when you get too close, like the ones on cars. Well, we're not cars, you crazy person. Delving deeper into the idea today, Ynet News cited a cybersecurity expert who slammed the idea. A cyber resilience expert called the idea fictional and dangerous. You don't say. The Prime Minister's suggestion is not to be implemented throughout databases, but through simple technology notifying the citizens about their distance. Anyway, so yeah, the Grabblers do what the Grabblers do best, subversively implement authoritarian measures as if they're normal. And rest assured that if it's going to get rolled out there, well, we are an Israeli corporation, so keep your head on a swivel. Now, for those, and I know I haven't been going live a lot lately. I'm going to be going live a ton, so no reason to freak out. You're going to get plenty of Austin. But if anyone's been watching Jaronism or Globebusters or any of my Facebook lives, I'm pretty clear about the way I think all this is going down. This is my take. You know, go to whatever truther channel you want to. So the way that I see this is a giant crafted psychological operation of immense proportion. We've never seen anything like it before. They are guiding the awakening. It's just diet woke, of course. And we're watching this happen in live time. So kick back, enjoy it. This is a movie. Unprecedented levels of psychological operations are about to commence, as if they haven't already. For the last 3 months, we see psychopathic people implementing totalitarian measures over the Holocaust, the sniffles, and everyone complies because they're morons. But anyway, so I've been calling this for a while now. The world's a play. Trump was cast in the play as the hero. Obviously, he went to a Jesuit school, therefore stands to reason he had to take the Jesuit oath. Got bailed out by the Rothschilds for $4 billion. The Grabblers love him. Blah, 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 blah. Signed an executive order for 5G, Federal Reserve Transparency Act, moved it over to print the money, then give it to the National Treasury. So it's basically nationalizing the Fed. They're causing hyperinflation, basically effectively signing the dollar's death warrant to, in my opinion, usher in the new economic infrastructure through a digital currency, which will be operated through XRP. So there you go. There's my take with the economics thing. And so I've been calling this is a gradual process to replace the current economic infrastructure, as well as the 5G, of course, being the technological infrastructure, the internet infrastructure, massive surveillance capabilities. Once you remove the private transaction capability of physical cash, although it is worthless, it still gives us private transaction capability. And then, of course, the surveillance of 5G. So he's making the big moves, and it will be under the guise of helping get our freedoms back, as if they were there. So anyway, I've been telling you, quite a few people, one of the things that they're going to do is an internet bill of rights, okay? Meaning that they're going to, and I've been calling this for a few months, they're going to call out the totalitarian censorship of all of these private companies. As you know, if you choose to selectively determine who stays on your platform and what they're allowed to say, you have to adhere to publishing laws, right? So if you don't adhere to publishing laws, then you can't, pick and choose on a public platform who's allowed to speak. Of course, if you do adhere to publishing laws, that means you have to stand behind whatever is said on your platform, obviously not even on the table as an option to these major social platforms such as IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc. They'll never adhere to publishing laws. They simply cannot. Because the inherent value is as a public platform. But basically, Congress gave them an exclusion to where they can operate under the benefits of a publisher, but they don't have to adhere to publishing laws. And I've been saying for a while now that they're going to ramp up this censorship, which they've been doing for a while. But as opposed to shadow banning you, which effectively you're censored, right? Like I came out, I made my channel, first thing calls Einstein an incestuous grabbler that reified space and that the earth is flat. I'm shadow banned. I was shadow banned before that because before I put a video up, Globebusters introduced my channel and all of those people flooded over there to sub for me, which much love for that. So they already knew to shadow ban me. Anyway, my point is, you can effectively censor people by shadow banning them. You do not have to come out in the public stage and just start taking things down. They're doing that on purpose. Like the doctors that came out, they let that gain traction as opposed to shadow banning it, and then they took it all the way off. They're doing that on purpose to show an overreaching totalitarian censorship so that the mainstream blue-pill normies realize what's going on. They can come in and offer the solution. Most of these truthers are just operating halfway where they're just, they're not seeing the bigger picture. I'm going to continue to stake my claim on my prediction because it's fulfilling right in front of our eyes. So anyway, long way of saying, they are going to come in and offer the illusion of the solution to censorship. Okay, so they're going to hold these public platforms accountable, and they're going to implement an internet bill of rights. Of course, the issue being that will be enforced by the government or the military. So this is a way to basically get the military in charge of the entire internet by underneath the guise of it helping us fight against censorship. So we will indeed get a much less suppressed freedom of speech on the internet here soon. Okay, so that's my prediction. It will come from Trump's administration because, again, he was casting the world play as a hero. So people think I'm crazy for saying that. Well, we'll just move on. Okay, Donald Trump tweet May 16th. The radical left is in total command and control of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google. The administration is working to remedy this illegal situation. Stay tuned and send names and events. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so, right here we literally have Donald Trump telling you that he's about to fix the issue with censorship. Okay, now I'm not going to continue to reiterate that I know Donald Trump is just an actor in the world stage and that he's part of the club. I'm not going to continue to preface every single point with that. If you can't understand that and move forward with what I'm saying, just don't say anything. No one cares. No one cares. It's exhausting. Okay, so Trump will indeed do this. Called it. Now he's coming out and saying it. You have to understand that they're guiding the ideological revolution, the awakening. In order to control the opposition, we must lead it ourselves. This is what this is, because they're going to replace the current infrastructure that they've wrung dry, and they're going to bring in the new infrastructure, which will be under the guise of peace and prosperity and freedom and limiting the government and outing corruption and draining the swamp. Moving on. So if you post this article on Facebook, it immediately gets marked as false news. No shocker there. And again, I hope you really understand what I'm saying. They're going to double down on these methods of censorship and put it out into the open where the blue pill normies are like, what's going on? Okay, so they've crafted this whole like right versus left, nonsensical, political, diametrically opposed paradigm, this illusion of a binary of choice, so that you can keep people divided and make them think they have a say, but they never unify and actually aim their attention towards the guilty party as a whole, which is the government in general. the federal government's way too powerful. Anyway, so they've been saying, oh, they're censoring the conservatives, right? That's been like the talking point since Trump's been in office. Well, now it's just getting to where they're censoring anyone that's questioning the official narrative, which they've been doing the whole time, but now they're doing it openly and blatantly on purpose. They're trying to get the attention of the average normie that normally doesn't pay attention to this kind of stuff. You have to understand the game they're playing. In fact, the grabblers are sitting in their little grabbler hut, watching Joe Rogan, and they're drinking their little cognacs, and they're like, what do we have to do to wake up the normies? They're so brainwashed. We've done too good brainwashing them. Now we can't even like wake them up to move towards what we have already crafted as the solution for them. They're probably extremely frustrated, but they have AI that's probably plugged this all into a plethora of algorithmic deduction, and they kind of know where we're going. So anyway, again, this is all being crafted. The average person is like, whoa, Austin just posted an article with 13 cited medical journals, and it immediately got reported as false news. Austin posted a picture from a textbook, and they said it was false news. So they're doing this on purpose is my main point here. But anyway, moving on. So this tells you, for all the moronic, idiots, just call it how it is, that are wearing masks, you should read this article. I know most of my viewers are based, but nevertheless, this just kind of lets you know how incredibly stupid all of it is. Let's see. They found that about a third of the workers developed headaches with the use of the mask. Most had pre-existing headaches that were worsened by the mask wearing, and 60% required pain medication for relief. As of the cause of the headaches, while straps and pressure from the mask could be causative, the bulk of the evidence points towards hypoxia and or hypercapnia as the cause. This is reduction in blood oxygenation or an elevation in CO2. It is known that the N95 mask, if worn for hours, can reduce blood oxygenation as much as 20%. I think most of us know this, and honestly, if you don't, without reading this article, that's pretty sad, to be bluntly honest. The importance of these findings is that the drop in oxygen levels is associated with an impairment in immunity. Okay, so what a clown world, per usual. They invert everything, so what they tell you is actually the opposite. Right, so they tell you that the mask is going to keep you safe. It makes you sick. And I think most of us know this. The body's a well-crafted machine. We breathe in oxygen. We exhale toxins. You're keeping something blocking the toxins from escaping your immediate vicinity, thus cycling the toxins back into you. And obviously, you're depleting your oxygen intake, and you're increasing your carbon intake. Really pretty common sense. Doctors wear masks so that when they're performing surgery, they don't get something in the open wound, right? Like, it's really not that complicated. It is to protect the person that has surgery being performed on them to not get them infected somehow. It's nothing to do with protecting you from getting sick. The CDC themselves came out and said, this is not to keep you from getting sick. It's to keep you from getting other people sick, which of course we know the idea of transmittable live viruses is pseudoscience anyway, but a lot of you may not be able to accept that. Doesn't really matter. I've actually found that it's harder to wake people up to the pseudoscience of viruses than it is to the flat earth, believe it or not. So I'm not going to hold your hand. Yeah, viruses are pseudoscience. You don't need anything but, alterations to your lifestyle organically to stay healthy. I mean, sunlight, exercise, water, distilled water, removing toxins, and removing negative frequencies. I think most of y'all know that. But anyway, it's a good article to show your blue pill normie friend, and it has 13 cited medical journals. So moving on. San Francisco confirms it's giving drugs to homeless in hotels in limited quantities. I'm sure that you have also seen this, but crazy enough, we have a city in the United States during a pandemic holocaust that's actually giving people drugs. So they're taking the homeless, they're putting up in hotels, they're giving them alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Yeah, so that's the world we live in now, where hardworking Americans cannot continue to go to their job to support themselves and or their families, but we put the homeless degenerates up in a hotel and give them free drugs and aid what is actually killing them. Moving on. Coronavirus. UK government death figures are false. So a shocker. So basically, it's coming out in the mainstream that this was blown out of proportion. Again, this is all part of the bigger psyop. It's a psychological operation that paints Trump as a hero. He's going to out the, this being blown out of proportion under false narratives and false numbers, but it will be underneath the guise of it being politicized, over politicized. So still, obviously, if you don't need, you should know right there, it's diet woke, because politics is all a scam and a scheme, and it's an illusion of choice. But nevertheless, that is what's going to happen. They're going to come out and blow the lid off of how fake these numbers are. So, of course, the diagnoses are speculative based on indicative factors, and they're blowing the mortality rate based on the presupposition of the infectious rate and the infected, procedure of diagnosis in general, blah, blah, blah. Basically, fake numbers on top of fake numbers on top of presuppositions on top of presuppositions on top of pseudoscience on top of blah, 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 blah. What they're going to say is because the Democrats are politicizing it to try to ruin the economy and ruin Trump's chance of getting back in, as if this was a last-ditch effort to go against Trump. Of course, we know that the coronavirus pandemic has been planned for much longer than a few months. So surely people know that that's all nonsense. But anyway, my point is this is coming out in mainstream that the numbers are completely fake. I'll link all the articles. All right, moving on. This is a pretty big topic here. So if anyone's been maybe listen to Jaredism or whatever, there's a cop that came out. I think everyone knows this. Cop came out, spoke out about, like, if you keep on being super totalitarian and trying to take people's freedoms and rights away under the guise of security, you're going to cause an uprising. And then he was fired or put on administrative leave, obviously going to be fired. And people have called this guy out for some sketchy things, RV being the prominent person. I will say there are some sketchy things. His profile picture shows one eye. His number, his user tag, his name tag has 33 in it. Like, why? His wife has 33 in it. Like, why? He has a bunch of weird shirts, and he does jiu-jitsu at this Czech mat place in Corona, California. There's a bunch of sketchy things, but it's important to understand that the basic thing this guy's saying isn't bad, right? Like, do we disagree with him? Do we think that cops should be attacking people? This is what people need to understand, and it's the lack of the macro discernment is what's causing people to not know how to pick and choose their battles. This is a giant psyop. Okay, I know I'm being reiterative, but people they never listen. People never listen. I've been saying it for months, and no one listens. This is a psyop. Okay, they're being way out of pocket because they want you to wake up, because they want to guide the awakening. The only way to replace the current infrastructure is to get rid of it. So they're putting it out on the mainstream stage. People need to understand this. And then people have said, like, oh, busted. He wasn't, 3 years ago, he wasn't a cop or whatever. Yeah, he stepped down, and then he was a cop again. Now, cops are typically Masons. He probably got a call from his little dress up in the dark buddies. And they said, look, man, maybe you speak out. That's very possible. And it is not to cause civil unrest. It is to guide the awakening. They knew that if this guy did it, then all the other cops would start to do it, especially when they made 10 years of salary on a GoFundMe in a couple of days. That's as far as I'm going to go. That's as far as I'm going to go with the whole conspiracy narrative. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I require a lot of evidence, right? There is no evidence that this dude isn't a cop. There's a ton of evidence to the contrary. People are going to backpedal now on their initial assessment, but whatever, no ill will to anyone. We are all trying to, sift through a mountain of delusion, but whatever, I call it like I see it. I apply pattern recognition to these things, and then, food for thought, you go look into things yourself. He may have been called upon. There's no way we'll be able to verify that. He is actually a cop. He was working for that department. You have to understand how the grabblers work. They don't hire some dude in a warehouse and say, go sit in a fake cop car. I'm not saying that anyone specifically said that. I'm just saying that's not how any of this works. It's also a very likely possibility. This is a generic thing. This guy might have truly spoke out, because the best way to do this is you create the macro environment, knowing the personality traits of the population as a whole, being able to guide their reaction. You allow them to like organically react, because then that creates a feeling of authenticity. In fact, there is authenticity within it. And so every good lie has a lot of truth in it. That is how you would pull off the guided ideological revolution. You would let people organically begin to revolt, but you would guide it the whole time, having the solution prepared in advance. So I hope people need to stop. They need to see the bigger picture before they get into the intricacies, is kind of what I'm trying to say. But Huge fan of RV, so we're going to listen to him for a little bit.
Port of Seattle police officer Greg Anderson was put on leave earlier this week. The police chief says Anderson's suspension had nothing to do with his anti-lockdown views. Is that really the case? Was this coincidence? Greg Anderson joins me now. Greg, your police chief says you were suspended because you were wearing a uniform in that video. Were you urging people to commit a crime, Greg?
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's interesting how initially...
There he goes, looking to the right. And again, he's going to constantly do this throughout the whole entire interview. And let's continue.
It was put out to me that the video needed to come down, and it was obvious that it was due to the content, but then it was looked into, and they needed to find a policy violation in order to terminate me over it. So, it's still under investigation. We'll see how it shakes out, but I think it's pretty clear the reason why they wanted the video taken down.
Greg, if you were in your uniform and committing an act of charity, helping someone cross the street, a cat out of the tree on your off, as you were driving home off duty, they had your uniform on, I don't think they would have probably had a problem with that. I mean, it makes no sense. You're expressing your own views about a really important situation that affects the lives of everyone in Seattle, this continued shutdown. What has been the reaction to people who've seen your video now that it's gone completely viral?
It's actually been overwhelming. The whole point of
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I know that even looking at that woman is exhausting. Yeah, so I had to step away anyway. Basically, man. Yeah, so here's the deal, man. Okay, it is. I will agree. It's kind of sketchy that this dude was on Fox News, but at the same time, it went super viral. But I don't know. It doesn't. Again, you have to understand how the grabblers operate. It's okay. A perfect example is CNN. Now, we know Operation Mockingbird, that CIA controls the mainstream media. They put news anchors in positions they're actually agents. Does that mean every single person that you ever see on mainstream news is a CIA agent? No. If there's legitimately crazy people that want to work for MSNBC, they're just going to let them be crazy people. If they're going to come up with fantastical reasons to try to hate Trump, they're going to let them do that because it fits the narrative. It's much less messy that way. They don't want to have to control everything. They want to pick a few people out, control that, and then they know people are weak-minded and they follow. So this guy may have been orchestrated so that it will start the domino effect of other cops. And then, of course, the payment on GoFundMe is going to remove the pressure of not being able to support yourself because it's been pretty clearly demonstrated that Americans will back you up. And they probably shot him some money if they did set this up. The point simply being, we don't need to just shoot this down as if we disagree with the sentiment. Who disagrees with it? Are we now like pro cops, like taking us over? How dare you talk about how we have freedoms? No, just because they're guiding the awakening does not mean that we don't need to take some of the freedoms back. We need those, bro. We need to hold the cops accountable. We need to get rid of the Federal Reserve. We need these things, but we need to keep our head on a swivel and try to overtake the awakening and actually have it be grassroots as opposed to just taking whatever solution they craft for us. There's an unprecedented window of opportunity here that has never existed, and they cannot help but have that window of opportunity because they're making a huge change in infrastructure. Okay, so that is the important part, and we do indeed have the power. Okay, so for all the black pillars acting like there's no way we could ever win, you don't know how the game is played. You have no idea. That's what they want you to think. And if that was the case, they wouldn't have to put so much effort into crafting this evolution. So we can listen to a little bit more, though.
The video was to bridge the gap between the citizens and law enforcement because these...
No one cares.
In just a bit. Before I play the video, he does mention how he quit the police force approximately 2015. I made a video stating at a certain aspect, of course, like you stated, he quit the police force, but he returned. That doesn't mean he's legit. Of course not. He's part of the psychological operation. They control both sides of the pantomime. Let's get right to the
Okay, see, I agree with that 1,000,000%. You know what I'm saying? Like, they control all of this in general. It's way beyond a little cop. Like, that's the point that people need to grasp here. And I'm not going to talk about this much longer because I think it's pretty obvious of what needs to be taken away from this. And so I'm not going to harp on it all day.
video.
My plan was just to take the Joe Rogan approach and completely ignore the haters. Because
I bet you want to take the Joe Rogan approach, you sodomite. That's all I need to know about the fact this dude's a complete loser. I just want to take the Joe Rogan approach. What's next? You're going to wear bedazzles on your jeans and shrink and then look like a human thumb and be a sodomite?
inevitable as soon as you start to get any kind of notoriety online. But I got a message this morning from a guy in Houston, Texas. It's like, hey, bro, I threw some money at your GoFundMe, and then I found out everything you said was a fraud, and I'm pretty upset about that. So this is for people that have believed in what I said, and they have supported us through the GoFundMe, and then have heard contrary things after the fact, okay? So I'm just going to kind of give you a quick play-by-play of some of the
times.
Yeah, there's just look, here's the deal. Never at one point in any of this did I question the dude was a cop. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go check it out, look at all angles from everything, but we're just gonna move on. I mean, like I said, I think I've pretty thoroughly explained it here. At the most, he's a Mason. He's in the club. He got called, was like, go speak out. We're going to cover you in the back end with the GoFundMe, so that we can start the domino effect of people waking up. Just as likely, if not more likely, the dude's actually a cop, and he just was tired of doing that, tired of implementing totalitarian measurements, and he spoke out and was organic and genuine and authentic. That would be the most effective way. People need to understand that. That would be the most effective way. The Grabblers are premier at risk reward, right? Like, they eliminate risks as much as possible. Like, fully controlling this and crafting it all is much more risky than just letting cops do what cops are going to do. And then the whole narrative, this was crafted so that it shut the other cops up. No, I know, I don't get it, bro. People are missing the psyop. They actually think this is the end of the world, and like, this is their major move, and they're going to come take us over by force. No, they're not. They're socially engineering us to be prepared mentally for the future New World Order. And so they have to, normalize these things. We are many years out from the New World Order. Okay. This is my opinion. Compile everyone's opinion, do your own research. The New World Order is not about to happen. We're going to enter an age of some awakening. That's how the New World Order happens. So everyone freaking out, oh, they're about to shut down the country forever and roll out tanks and shove needles in us, and that is not happening. It's not happening. Trump is about to fulfill his role in the play as the hero. You guys can deny it. You can attack people for thinking that all you want to, but it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. I mean, I would bet everything I own on it. So people need to get their stuff together. Trump's already a president for 4.5 more years. There is no such thing as an election. There's a selection, and it was made decades ago, at least 2 decades ago. So he's going to be here. It's going to get crazier over the next 6 months. A bunch of this stuff's going to come out. In his second term, stuff's going to keep coming out. He's going to implement new major infrastructure changes, and it's going to be under the guise of good. So everyone needs to really understand what's going on. And if you don't, you're going to fall for it, because if you don't see right now what's happening, then when Trump starts to come out and drain the swamp, you're going to mess around and start playing mental gymnastics and be like, maybe he is good. Maybe he does help us. No, he's a Jesuit. He isn't helping us. But we still need to take the good where it's there, and we need to take the window of opportunity while we have it. So there you go. I don't want to be too reiterative. I think y'all understand what I'm saying. If you don't at this point, there's not much I can do for you. So moving on. And false report of COVID-19 death frustrates justice. In Charleston, Governor Jim Justice was not Was not in a good mood Friday during this weekly coronavirus briefing after COVID-19 death was falsely reported to the Department of Health and Human Resources. This is older, March 28th. The point is being, this general sentiment is about to become mainstream. So, and if anyone can't see this, guys, I don't know what to say. This isn't how. Do you think they're just messing up? Like I hear some people say, I think they just went a little too hard, and they're like, it's like falling out of their grasp, and they're accidentally. No, they know what they're doing. They're intentionally waking you up. They're intentionally waking you up to a diet woke level. It's a perfect example of how they craft a conspiracy theory for every true conspiracy theory. So once you start to look into it, you stop too early. That's exactly what this is. It's exactly what this is. 9/11. Oh, there weren't 19 hijackers with box cutters. This is a controlled demolition after the planes hit. But there were no planes. That's the truth. They crafted a conspiracy theory so that you don't see the bigger picture. There were no planes. JFK, oh man, the CIA killed him underneath George Bush Sr. and the same person he fired investigated his assassination. He didn't get assassinated. Okay, so every single time, it's much deeper than the surface, and they've crafted a conspiracy theory for you at the surface level if you are to start to wake up. Now, in this situation, they're forcing everyone to wake up, and they already have the entire truth on the surface crafted for them. This is a deep level psychological operation. The whole QAnon thing is going to appear to come true now. This is where people spiral too. I don't understand. I have to, reiteratively preface my thing as in, I don't think Q's going to save the day. No, I don't trust plans of deep military operations. No, you shouldn't just put your faith in some dude behind a keyboard. But some of the stuff he's saying is about to come out. All you have to do is research it without bias to know it's coming from the inside. He posts a picture of a certain boat. The next day, Ivanka Trump tweets a picture where she's eating right in front of that boat. Someone gets on the board and says, say super duper duper. And he says like super duper duper 2 days later. They say tweet Obamagate. The next day he tweets Obamagate. So if you don't think this is coming from the inside, you're not even remotely close to figuring out what's going on. So what I'm saying is I'm trying to help these truthers out that are on point about a lot of things, pump the brakes on like attacking the QAnoners, although they are being blindly complicit with the plan, and we should help wake them up and tell them, look, man, Q's not going to save you. At the same time, those that say nothing's real about Q at all, some dude in his basement behind a computer, that isn't true. It's a deep military operation. You need to research it. Okay, Austin Steinbart came out, said he was Q, said he gave the Greenland 30 days to cooperate. On the 30th day exactly, the Queen of Denmark steps down. That's a coincidence? You think that's a coincidence? Like, I can't even comprehend how people don't see it, to be honest. So prepare yourself for a lot of the Q stuff to come true. What will inevitably happen at that point is all the QAnoners will be like, told you so. They'll be super excited. Everyone that's in the blue pill population will have to swallow their pride for making fun of QAnoners as being crazy conspiracy theorists. Now, us as the real solid truthers that are super based, we've never said they were wrong because of the crazy conspiracy theories like adrenochrome and stuff. Like, no, of course adrenochrome's a real thing. That's where the whole entire idea of vampires comes from. But we're just like, dude, you're blindly believing that this is all going to happen, and we think it's a pipe dream that any of these people get arrested. They're going to get arrested. Now, are they actually going to get arrested? Are they actually going to go to trial or actually be hung for treason? No, I don't think so. You'll just never see them again. They'll get taken to the secret island or whatever, right? They're all in the same club. And it's in a transition from dark to light. It's an ideological transition all within the Luciferian doctrine, the Luciferian agenda. So there you go. Now, I guess what I'll close out with, and then I'll come chat with y'all, is this is kind of overdue, but I've been chilling on YouTube for a minute, so I'm going to just look up this loser and then just dismantle. I was supposed to do this a while ago. I'm not editing a video and all that. It just, this dude isn't worth all that. So let me get to it.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, so we're going to respond to Professor Clown, his most recent Destroying Flat Earth Without Science. Conveniently enough, because that's the very thing the entire globe Earth model lacks, science. So let's check it out.
Everyone, so you may remember the 10 challenges I offered to flat earthers a couple of months ago, and it's been very amusing watching them run around like chickens with their heads cut off, making pathetic response videos where they puff up their chests and bark at each other for hours without actually responding to any of the challenges.
Oh, ironically enough, that's what his entire channel does, is never respond to the specificity of his burden of proof.
Memorizing the names of logical fallacies and shouting them at random sure seems like a lot of fun, but it's not a working map or a model that shows the seasons with night and day or a legitimate response to anything whatsoever.
Of course, conveniently enough, he left off shifting the burden of proof fallacy. And we're not shouting them at random. We are simply calling out the fallacious reasoning and the arguments that you postulate because you are, in fact, a complete and total moron and clearly a gamma. So yes, you do constantly use reification fallacies. You are literally about to shift the burden of proof, which is a fallacy, to a straw man model, which is also a fallacy. The reason fallacies are important is they invalidate your argument, you moron.
Response to anything whatsoever. So at this point, I think it's safe to say that they've thrown in the towel. Of course, there is no need to follow up after such an annihilation, and I did not intend to, but now I find myself quarantined because of the coronavirus with no access to YouTube studios and no way to make my regular content.
Aww.
So, you lucky little flurf balls, I'm back for more. Here's what's going to happen now. Since my 10 challenges made your heads explode, and none of you have the mental capacity to make a map or a model, even at a
although I would literally intellectually dismantle you in a debate, and of course I am challenging this clown to a debate, but he will never accept it.
School level, I figured I would dumb it down for you even more. It's very easy to think of things that single-handedly obliterate the flat earth delusion, like, say, the existence of gravity, but you're so thoroughly science illiterate that you just shout, gravity doesn't exist, and pretend that this is not a stupid thing to say.
And I guess we'll just touch on this. I know a lot of you people are probably like me and just hate to even listen to this clown, but I'm just going to go ahead and dismantle that right there. You just scream, gravity does not exist, and this isn't a completely scientifically illiterate thing to say. Well, it's literally just a theory. So for all of you globe earthers that run across this, I need you to pay attention real fast. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk pretty quickly, more than likely, but try to keep up. So there's little g and there's big G. Okay, little g is local downward acceleration. That's an agreed upon average of the rate of fall to Earth, 9.8 meters per second squared. Agreed upon average, actually not even validated, and it's a generality, an effect being described through a metrical representation. So simply, it is the effect of something falling, and it's given a general agreed upon average of rate of fall, little g, 9.8 meters per second squared, little g. Okay, big G, the conceptual abstractions that back up the causality of the effect known as little g. Okay, so that is what is being disputed. Of course, it is simply a theory. It is pseudoscientific. It has no actual empirical verifiability whatsoever. We can cover the couple. Again, I'm going to go kind of fast. For you globers who I know don't operate at very high cognitive levels, this may be difficult for you to keep up with, but nevertheless. So we start with Newtonian gravity, who himself actually didn't even propose or postulate an explanation. He wanted to be distanced from it. In fact, he said the idea that this operates on brute matter through the vastness of space over long distances is to me so great an absurdity that no man with competent faculty of thinking in philosophical matters could ever fall into it. He didn't postulate an explanation. Once he died, they took him and then they attributed an explanation to him that he did not even propose. His proportionate mass, mutual mass acceleration. This was in fact superseded in 1915 by Einsteinian gravity. Of course, Albert Einstein was a little incestuous grappler that couldn't even pass his basic mathematical competency test to get into engineering school. Nevertheless, he took Lorentz equations, Lorentz transformations, and Poincare mathematical constructions, adopted them as if they were his own, and then added a new conceptual abstraction that not even he came up with either. Okay, this is that gravity is now the effect of the warping of space-time. So the theory of relativity proposes three primary things. It says that is an attributable constant speed of light, and it says energy and mass are interchangeable, and it says that gravity is the effect of warped space-time. Of course, the problem with this is that is a reification fallacy. He reified space, which is a privation. A privation is nothing. Shadow is the absence of light, thus a privation. It's nothing in and of itself. It can have attributes like you stand in the shadow, it's cooler, but it is nothing in and of itself. It is just the absence of light. It cannot have physical properties. Okay, so in and of itself, reifying space as a privation is a reification fallacy. Of course, not to mention, it is nothing more than a conceptual abstraction to represent a privation, as is time, nothing more than a human construct or a conceptual abstraction. It's a measurement of magnitude between 2 points. The measurement of passing is something we use to quantify existence. It's nothing in and of itself. It's a human construct, a conceptual abstraction. You cannot attribute physical properties to conceptual abstractions. The theory of relativity is a reification fallacy. So not only is there no scientific, empirical, verifiable evidence at all whatsoever for the causality of local downward acceleration being some mystical deified force that you call gravity, in addition, there isn't even a feasible or acceptable theoretical conceptual abstraction that has been postulated. All right, moving on.
So instead, let's try some proofs that have nothing to do with science at all. There is no challenge. There is no prerequisite information. You just have to listen, acknowledge that the logic is airtight. And
this guy just now hand-wave dismissed the importance of logical fallacies, and then this clown, less than 20 seconds later, invokes logic.
Cry yourself to sleep. Are you ready? Here comes one now. What is this object? It's the moon.
Oh, presupposition that it's an object, presupposing solidity from the jump.
We've all seen the moon. We've seen it many times. Look at all of these pictures of the moon. What do they have in common? They all show precisely the same features. We all see the same face of the moon. It doesn't change from night to night, and it doesn't change throughout the night. There is no denying this. You can't shout CGI. You can't cry conspiracy. It's the moon. We can all see it with our own eyeballs. It's there, and it always looks like this. Now let's place the moon above a flat disk.
Oh, yeah, because that's where the moon is. It's super, super close to a straw man model of a flat disk. Cool story, you clown.
Let it float around in the little magic circles you like to imagine. If the Earth was flat, would we all see the same face of the moon? Here is someone standing in one spot looking at the moon. They see this. Here is someone standing in another spot looking at the same moon.
Now, of course, he's drawing a straight line as if that's how view works. And of course, we have an angle of view of 180 degrees. This dude's a complete and total moron. So not only does he presuppose the solidity of an object known as the moon, he also presupposes a much closer altitude than any of us even would postulate. In addition, we don't claim a definitive model is a shift in the burden of proof fallacy because the globe has a positive claim of specificity. Thus has the burden of proof. We don't claim a definitive model. This is literally independent of your requirement of verifying your claim. So this is a straw man model, which is a fallacy, and this is also a reification of the solidity of the moon, and this is also a shifting the burden of proof fallacy.
They see this too, and this person, and this person. You get the idea.
That isn't how viewing works, guys. I want you to understand. That isn't how we actually view things, just so you know. This dude is that stupid.
So is this possible? No. Because that's not how objects work. People on the opposite sides of an object can't see the same face of the object. Go get two of your little buddies and have them stand on opposite sides of you. Can they both see the front of your face at once? No. A spherical moon over a flat Earth is not consistent with reality at all. So is it two-dimensional with the same face on both sides? Then anyone but these two people would see a different shape. So no. Is it pointing down like a spotlight? Then it would change shape as it passes by and only appear circular when directly overhead. So no. Is there any way we can make this work on a flat Earth? No.
Wrong. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I can't listen. Like, I lose brain cells the more that dude talks. So, yeah, again, of course, he's presupposing the solidity of the moon. Okay, he presupposes it's an object of solidity. In addition, we don't actually understand the intricacies of the medium it's encompassed in. Okay, so we need to know the medium differentiation between the surface and where the moon is located. We don't even know where the moon is located, nor do we understand the medium intricacies, meaning we can't adequately dissect or assess attenuation of light, okay, the extinction limit of the propagation of light. So we don't actually know the rate of attenuation coming from what we perceive, so we wouldn't be able to adequately dissect or assess the perception of the moon. You have to know the altitude and the medium encompassed in, as well as the very nature and characteristics of the moon itself. So simply, we do not have access to all the information required, so this is completely stupid. It is incredibly stupid, and this dude thinks he's smart. And there are actual living, breathing humans that think he's smart. So we'll let him talk a little longer, and that's all I can do.
There is not. So how, pray tell, do all people see the same face of the moon? Because Earth is a sphere, and the moon goes...
Guys, look how big the moon is and how close it is to the Earth.
around the Earth.
Oh, that's called a reification fallacy.
It is tidally locked with the Earth, with one face always pointing towards the Earth.
But we just don't have any scientific proof at all for orbital trajectory, the sphericity of the moon, nor the Earth, or the very requirement of gravity being postulated in order for tidal locking to be a thing. So tidal locking is nothing more than a theoretical conceptual abstraction to try to explain the anomaly of the orbital trajectory and the rotation fitting perfectly in which we only see one side of the moon forever, always, through all recordable history.
That's why everyone sees the same face of the moon, and that's the relates with the observer's latitude. Isn't that something? Whether at the North Pole, South Pole, or anywhere in between, the orientation of the face of the moon that we all see will reveal your latitude on the spherical Earth. Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, and that, of course, can simply be replicated, which is how flat earthers actually operate through empirical, verifiable, and replication. You can just take an object, put it on the top of your ceiling in your living room, change positions, and so will your perception also be altered relative to your positioning.
Maybe one day you'll save up enough allowance that you can leave your mom's basement and see the moon from another part of the world. So,
says the guy with action figures.
My precious little learners, do you now see how pathetically fragile the flat Earth delusion is? Of all the hundreds of individual isolated phenomena that rip it to shreds,
like zero. There's like literally zero of those. I'm not. Of course, this Gamma just proceeds to talk crazy nonsense and throw a whole bunch of ad homs and act like he's really smart and we're stupid throughout the rest of the video. So, Professor Dave, if any of you little Gamma trolls that stalk my content and constantly blow up my email, my messengers, etc., would love to extend this message to you, I challenge you to a debate. You're a clown. You don't understand the importance of logical consistency. You constantly invoke reifications and straw man and shifting the burden of proof fallacies, thus invalidating your postulations. So we will see if you are actually as tough as you are behind your keyboard, and you'll show your face off time and then debate the flat Earth delusion. But of course, we all know you will not. All right. Glad we got that covered. I'm not listening to the rest of it. Of course, he just talks crazy like he's tough, but he's a Gamma. I hate that I even had to give that much airtime, but whatever. Yeah, so I think that pretty much covers what I have here. And again, I'm just going to watch this again because it's real short. This is the world we live in now, where they don't even mince words. They straight up just tell you what their plan is. Let's check out the frog lady real fast.
So you got to eliminate that compliance, and you make a mandate, and then you do training, particularly in the city. I'll call them licensing departments, whether it's zoning, buildings, housing will be impacted by it, planning certainly, and you pick the people to run those agencies and the deputies that are pledging allegiance to the new world order and good governance. And then I think you have the inspector general do some spot audits to make sure that there is real compliance.
Dude, you know that lady is like super frightened every time she sees herself. Okay, I just saw where Karen asked me to play a clip, so I'm going to grab it real fast.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread the disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business.
Wait, can I stop you?
Yeah.
No right not to be vaccinated, meaning if they decide you have to be vaccinated, we have to be vaccinated?
Absolutely. And if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. If the vaccination
Where is that in the Constitution?
If the vaccination is designed to prevent the spreading disease. If the vaccination is only to prevent a disease that you will get, for example, if there's a disease that will kill you, you have the right to refuse that, but you have no right to refuse to be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that, and there are cases in the United States Supreme Court.
What? This dude's a crazy person, bro.
Stop you.
Yeah.
No right
The
not to be.
To literally take you to a doctor's office to prevent if the vaccination is designed to prevent the spreading disease.
But they're only designed to make you sick, though. So none of this fit those parameters.
The vaccination is only to prevent a disease that you will get. For example, if there's a disease that will kill you, you have the right to refuse that, but you have no right to refuse.
No, we actually literally do have the right, though. You clown.
To be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that.
No, it literally doesn't, bro. It literally doesn't.
Cases in the United States Supreme Court.
That is crazy, bro. Wow. Well, this is the world that we live in. Obviously, that dude's a complete and total gamma loser that would never say any of that to one of our faces. Anyway, and again, I'll reiterate my take. Like, none of that's happening. Like, they're not mandating vaccines. None of that's happening. Like, they may roll out some new technology and say that it's just as effective as a vaccine or whatever, but you should look into Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy and how they're connected and how he's on the record saying he doesn't like vaccines. In my opinion, it's a part of the whole like psyop that as soon as Trump gets reelected, he kind of flips the tables where he's like, oh, Fauci and Gates, and they go down. Because I don't think people are underestimating the psychological operation. But obviously people like this is how you, you get drugged down the street, we'll say. So this guy should stay in his house. What a psychopath, bro. All right, anyway, if y'all got anything y'all want to say, throw up in the chat. I'm not going to roll all the way up because there's a lot of comments. But yeah, I'm going to start trying to keep my streams to closer to an hour or so instead of like 2.5, and then maybe doing 1 or 2 a day and at least 1 every day. So no worries until we get kicked off, right? So yeah, y'all just throw something up in the chat and I'll read it. And then to just briefly recap some of the stuff we covered. Let's see here. My D Live is Witsit Gets It. Go follow in case I get kicked off of here because if you know me, you know I don't have the ability to censor what I say. We covered the crazy frog lady just straight up saying she wants a new world order. We destroyed this professor clown who's a textbook gamma. We covered how the Israel little grabbler psychopath himself, Netanyahu, says he wants to microchip children. And yeah, like I said, they're just coming out and boldly saying things at this point. And this is 2020. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Been telling you that Donald Trump's casting the world play as a hero. He's going to come out against internet censorship and implement an internet bill of rights through the militarization of a new constitutional protection on the internet. And of course, he tweeted the 16th, the radical left is in total command and control of Facebook, IG, Twitter, and Google. The administration is working to remedy this legal situation. Ostradamus prediction from 4 months ago. And then here's a good article. I'll throw in all the show notes. Once the video posts, I'll put it in the description. It's got 13 medical journals cited at the bottom for all your blue pill normies, telling you, of course, what you should be able to inherently understand, the simplicity of the fact that your body is a well-designed machine. It breathes in oxygen, it exhales toxins. Putting a mask on prevents the toxins from actually adequately escaping you, and you continue to cycle them in and out. It also decreases oxygen intake, and it increases carbon dioxide intake. San Francisco has officially completely lost their mind, and they're now giving drugs to homeless people for free and putting them up in hotels. And this is why we saw an unprecedented flip where a Republican just now won a seat in California. And of course, if you wanted to somehow craft a situation in which California would go red, this entire pandemic reaction is how you would do it. And of course, I think they're crafting this because Trump was the chosen hero, quote unquote, and they're trying to get like an unprecedented percentage of the population to support him. He's going to moonwalk back in the White House. Not that they're actually elected anyway. It's coming out in public forums that, the numbers are completely fake. This dude very possibly is a Mason that was chosen to start this domino effect of cops speaking out. Either way, we should support cops speaking out against the fact that no little grabbler, female-esque, weak-minded little gamma, non-respected clown cops are allowed to control us via authoritarian measurements that go against our inherent freedoms. So we should support the general premise. We should just keep an eye out as to, well, if there's some fishy stuff around this character, why is it that they're wanting to do that? Of course, I've been offering you an explanation as to why they would do that. 4 months now, they are guiding the ideological revolution. And then we just watched a complete and total psychopath who thinks he somehow has the right to tell you that you don't have rights, and he would get drop kicked if he were to ever speak like that to me. All right, now let's check out what y'all are talking about. How do they fake GPS? They don't fake. What are you talking about, man? Dude, 98% of or 99% of all transmissions are done with towers and underground cables and wires and undersea cables and wires. And they have high altitude satelloons and drones. Electrogravitic propulsion has been known about for a long time and just declassified from the 50s, high altitude satelloons. And majority of transmission, if not basically all of it, is done via towers and underground cables and wires. So you should probably do a little bit more than just typing in how we know the Earth's not flat in Google. Let's see. Cellular tower triangulation. Yeah. Boomers have been brainwashed to oblivion. Yeah, but they're about to force the boomers to wake up underneath the guise of like Donald Trump being a hero. We got to take the good with the bad. At least a bunch of people are going to wake up to some stuff they normally would just die refusing to accept. We have to take advantage of it. What's the quick rundown on the Tomahawk Hanks debacle? I don't really keep up with Tom Hanks, man, but he's obviously a psychopath and a pedophile, allegedly. So that's about as far as I go. I think all of these people are being propped up to be slaughtered publicly, and that's just their role in the play. This isn't a major evil move to take over the world. They're making it look like that so they can offer you the guiding of an awakening. And I'm sticking with that, and everything that happens over time does nothing but substantiate it. I finally caught a live stream. What's up? What's up, bro? No, I've just been chilled off on it a little bit. You know, reiterating how the Holocaust is fake was kind of messing with my frequencies. But it's all good. I'm going to be going live every day from here on out. Any theories on how the Grabblers plan to placate truthers moving forward with the Diet Woke Awakening? Yeah, Donald Trump is going to out Obama and Hillary Clinton, and that they spied on him, and he's going to be exonerated, and they're going to prove that the media is intentionally lying and they're fake, and they have some connections to intel agencies, and they're going to create the illusion that they're going to drain the swamp and remove the deep state so they can replace it with the new updated infrastructure. NASA will be disbanded and replaced with the Space Force. FBI will either be disbanded or completely reorganized. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but, you know, holler at me in a few weeks. Yes, Bill Gates is a lightning rod put there on purpose. Yeah, Bill Gates was chosen to be the guy that goes down. But if Bill Gates goes down, who believes the little cucked grabbler computer guy in a sweater needs to tell us how to somehow take medicine? He's a doctor now, whenever 500,000 people, children in India, became like paralyzed because of that dude. But I mean, it's so obvious, it's so overtly obvious that it's part of the plan. That's trust the plan. Then they mean what they're saying. They're telling you straight up. The plan is like a facade of an ideological revolution. It's going to happen. This isn't just, they're not just getting you to sit on your hands while they roll out like tanks. Like that's not what happens. I agree. Q will be used as a divide. Yeah, and most people will be forced to accept that some of the stuff he's been saying is true, and they'll just reluctantly have to acknowledge Trump's doing good things. On the surface, he will be doing good things, but we all know he's a Jesuit. Many things will come out during election time. Yeah, for the next 6 months leading up to the election, I've called that for 3 years. You wouldn't do it before then. even if Trump was a good player, which he's not, but just in this theoretical fantasy world where presidents are actually elected, you wouldn't actually bring out all the corruption until right before the election. But that's what's going to happen. So, see, they select the president, but they do want majority to think that they chose who won, right? They want us to actually think that they chose who won. That's why they're putting Joe Biden up, because no one's going to be surprised that Trump beat Joe Biden. Of course he did. Joe Biden's a crazy person, alleged pedophile who doesn't know where he is half the time and can't speak without stuttering with scripted commercials. So they're doing this all on purpose. Trump is already the president for the next 4.5 years. Q is definitely a military CI operation via quantum computer, Q quantum. Yeah, but I think that what they tell you about the capabilities of quantum computing is a little blown out of proportion, but they probably do have very high processing speeds that can simultaneously process information in different locations, and it's just not available to the public. So they do have some capabilities through artificial intelligence and quantum algorithmic deduction to process information unprecedented to what we have publicly. My girl cheated on me. Should I leave her? Obviously. What are you, a cuck? Yeah, you should leave her, bro. And she's going to tell you that she'll never do it again, but she will. So obvious they even put on Spirit Cooking Witch in Microsoft commercial. Yeah, that was overtly obvious as well. But see, you understand that these people are going to go down, but part of what they're introducing right now is part of the ultimate plan, like the virtual reality. That is the future. So they're going to make it look like Trump is against this like shutdown and he doesn't like it. And he hasn't been able to come out and publicly admit that it was all blown out of proportion and basically fake yet, because people would lose their mind and they'll gradually release that truth bomb. But, they did this for a reason. He's in the club. Like, the reason was to socially engineer you to stay away from people, to normalize lack of human interaction in person, to normalize constantly staying in your house and being adopting a virtual reality. So that in the future, it'll just be a normal thing to stay in your house, not talk to people in real life, and to be like sucked into the virtual reality that'll probably be, facilitated via some type of, technological advancement that you actually take physically, and you'll have to agree to it. But, either you're going to be a part of the Flintstones or part of the Jetsons. That's the New World Order comes under the guise of peace and prosperity and technological advancement. So they'll wipe your debt clean. They'll give you a lump sum of money. You'll get connected to the cryptocurrency cloud of technological advancement, and et cetera, et cetera. You won't age anymore, blah, blah, blah. It'll be a sales pitch that gets 99% of people. Thank you, quantum computing, very overblown. Yes. Why are you not a mod, bro? That's like your backup channel. Hey, if we have any mods, can you make Brian a mod? So Jaron should have left his wife. Bro, do you want to get banned? Italy calls for Bill Gates to be charged with crimes against humanity. Well, I haven't heard that, but that's pretty interesting. That's all part of the plan. Oh, I have to do it? Okay. Yeah, I'm basically like YouTube illiterate, I'm not gonna lie. There you go, bro. You got the mod power. Uh-oh. Got another person I should make a mod right here. You're the only one that can make a mod? Yeah, I got it. All right. Windex, trust me, we get it. You're a gamma, bro, but can you stop tagging me? Because no one cares. I made both Brian and Rakia Life mods. Oh, here we go. We got another person. We're handing out mods left and right today, baby. If you ask to be a mod, very likely that you don't get a wrench, just so you know. All right. So yeah, guys, I think you understand my take, right? I mean, it's pretty simple, guys. Like, there's actually very like good news on the horizon. Like, and I know people justified that we don't expect it. We're not used to it. We're gonna get thrown a bone, but that's how they can justify major change. They have to demonize the old infrastructure, and so the stuff we've been talking about for 10 years on the surface, blue pill normies are going to know pretty soon. Any questions before I get out of here? You have a key life is dope. So yeah, and if anybody wants to go comment on Professor Clown, tell him to debate me. I'll debate him, but he won't even debate me in the comments. He responded, and then I told him that light's nothing more than an ether perturbation. So it's like a modality, a derivation of state of the ether. And it manifests as a coaxial circuit and of dielectricity on the dielectric pulse that intersects on the coaxial circuit is what they call photons, but it's nothing more than a dielectric pulse. It's immaterial. You cannot quantify the immaterial. And the electron is nothing more than the terminal end of one unit line of dielectric induction. And he didn't respond. Great stream, bro. Thanks, man. Thoughts on Elon Musk role in all of this? His role was crafted before he was born. His grandfather was arrested for technocracy and convicted, and then appealed it and got off with like a $25 fine, which it was in the early 1900s, so relatively different, but still he got off with it. Technocracy is in his bloodline. And of course, Warner Van Bryn wrote a science fiction novel, with the main character's name is Elon, founding the first civilization on Mars. He was put on the world stage. He didn't just stumble on PayPal either. So he will be one of the main good guys in the play. So maybe that's a good part for everyone to fully understand. Elon Musk was chosen as one of the quote unquote heroes in the play. So you will hear a lot more from Elon Musk when it comes to on the social front. He'll be revered and treated as if he is a hero. He's going to call out a lot of corruption and back up Trump and back up freedoms and stuff. And yeah, he was one of the heroes cast in the. That didn't interrupt the stream. I don't know what that was. Elon is serving diet woke to people now. Yeah, because I've been trying to tell you this for numerous months that this was going to happen. So it's just getting started. It's so obvious. I mean, I would hedge all bets on it. All bets. I know people, we have a responsibility to call out corruption, vaccines are bad. They come from replicated stem cells or aborted fetal tissue, have all kinds of poisonous chemicals in them. No one needs to be taking vaccines. It seems like they've created a situation which people think they need them. But actually, I just saw a report where over half of America is questioning vaccines at this point, and they blame it on Facebook for propagating conspiracy theories. The grabblers know that. I can assure you the grabblers know that. So take it in, guys. We're watching a movie, and it's going to be unprecedented levels of truth reveal. But again, it'll just be diet woke. It's just now getting started. For the next 4.5 years, we're going to hear stuff about the government that most of us already know, but the average person has no idea of, and they're going to be forced to basically be like, "Damn, all these conspiracy theorists were right this whole time." I'm back. Okay, so I did leave. You talk with so much authority, but you haven't gotten much of your predictions right so far. You keep changing your outlook, but it's still wrong. I literally haven't changed my outlook one time. So you're a clown. And I haven't got them right yet because they haven't happened yet. Yeah, actually, I said that this administration was going to come out and implement an Internet Bill of Rights, and Trump just tweeted that their administration is working on that. I said that Trump's going to do away with the Federal Reserve eventually, and then Trump moved the Federal Reserve over to the National Treasury. I'm not sure if you understand, but this is all documented. So cool story, Gamma. What was the moment that confirmed your theory the most? I don't know. It's just it's intuition. Intuition and pattern recognition. So it's just it's a compilation of things. Seeing how, like initially what it was for me is like seeing how crazy out on limbs that the left media goes now. I was like, oh, they're making it to where the dumbest of the dumb are like, oh, CNN just making stuff up, and they're going to craft the new media transition. They're going to craft the new technological transition. They're going to craft all of this, the economic transition. There's tons of things. There's no way to point at a single thing. It's like a multifaceted deduction. I'm just a very confident person, so that's why I talk with such assertion. And weak-minded people conflate assertion and aggression. What can I do about that? Yeah, so they're doing a controlled rollout of the lies. Yes, exactly. So glad you call out the grabblers. Yeah, of course, you got to. Dude, I'm getting attacked by people that are like just blatantly lying. It's pretty wild. Like I have a really small channel. I don't get it. I'd put all my eggs in the flat Earth basket. The Earth is provably flat. So we falsify the claim of radius. There's a necessitation of a rate of curvature based on the claim of radius. And we falsified it literally. And when the radius is falsified, the entire model implodes. The 24-hour day-night cycle requires it. The current connotation of gravity requires it. Seasons require it. The distance of a mile requires it. Globe Earth is dead. 2020. It's light work. It's time to move on. Had Stanley say he had 20/20 vision so he can see Earth curve on the bridge from 15-foot observer height. All ballers went along as I called BS and they attacked me. Yeah, Stanley is obviously a complete and total moron. But if you go measure that very bridge, like doesn't even dip. Q's mentioned flat Earth at least once. Q is a deep military operation, but they do know people are waking up to flat Earth, and they also they're very preemptive. So they know that when they release a lot, or they like relieve a lot of this like internet censorship, flat Earth will explode. Do y'all remember before we got censored that flat Earth was exploding? Well, if they like free up the internet, flat Earth will explode. So they're leaving it open-ended. So that they don't stake a claim yet, and they may end up absorbing the flat Earth. I don't know. I'm on the fence. There's no way to know. I don't think they know yet. What's it? They hate truth. Yeah, no. Rip the globe. Yeah. But I don't care if it rests in peace. Jesuit space monkey religion crafted to you by little incestuous grabblers that worship Lucifer. Let it go down in flames. Along with all of its religious zealots. Thoughts on Tartarian Empire definitely appears that it has some truth to it, and they were eliminated from the history books. I mean, very advanced civilizations throughout all of history. Q has many flat earthers fooled, especially our UK friends. Well, Q says disinfo is necessary. LL. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but the reason people are being fooled is because if you look into it, you can actually validate it is coming from the inside, and then they inaccurately conflate that to mean that it's good, right? Like they prove that it's coming from the inside, and then they're like, "Oh, it's real." Well, it is coming from the inside, and it's going to have the illusion of being real in the coming months, but it's all just a play to usher in the new infrastructure. That is the only way you can usher in the new infrastructure. It is not by force; it's by compliance. We demand the new world order. I'm measuring the bridge this month to the 20-mile observation from 2 feet Friday, headed back today. Surveyor scheduling in a couple of weeks. Awesome. Shoot me the results, bro. I'll throw them up on here. Right, when people were actually looking into the truth of flat Earth, YouTube shut it down, shut it all down. Yeah, I know. I know it's coming from the inside. Oh yeah, it's not even debatable. That's why people think it's a trap. I think it's legit, but it's a trap. Yeah, exactly. Yes, they have to make us demand our own enslavement. Exactly. We'll just close on that. So I got some stuff I got to take care of. I might go live later. Like I said, I'm about to like flood y'all with content, so that won't be an issue anymore. I had to take a break from my own frequencies. That's all good. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. But much love. Thanks everybody for showing up. And we'll be going live much more frequently. In conclusion, what we're discussing is my stance hasn't changed. This is an unprecedented psychological operations, and to be expected, right? Technology is exponential. So of course this PSYOP is going to be much more encompassing and effective than any other one ever. They're plugging all of us into AI algorithms. They know how to guide us. So what I will say is a positive message. Like I'm over the black pill despair nonsense. That's, if you want to get that, go somewhere else. I'm over it. I'm over it. That's not what you're going to get here. So I'm going to cut it bluntly raw. I'm not going to sell hopium, but at the same time, I'm going to call it like I see it. We're making a major shift economically and technologically and basic infrastructure wise. So a lot of corruption is going to come out. It's going to come out that Obama was super corrupt, which we all know that, but I'm just saying it's going to come out on the mainstream stage that he subversively obtained a FISA court warrant to spy on Trump and his administration or his campaign. The average normie will think that's unprecedented, right? Like, oh my gosh, the biggest crime of a sitting president ever. I've already heard someone say that on mainstream, like Trump's accusing Obama of the biggest crime ever. No, they do way worse than that, bro. But yeah, anyway, so expect that. Also, get your money out of it. If you still have your money in the stock market, dude, get your money out of the stock market. It's going to go through a process of hopium, kind of act like it's going to rise. It's going to crash. And I do know that digital currency is ultimately the beast system, but you can actually come up in this moment in the coming 6 to 18 months by playing your cards right. So XRP will explode. So take it or leave it. That's not financial advice. Apparently you have to say that in like the US, but look into it or don't. I don't care. Get your money out of the stock market. It's going to collapse even worse. And they're doing it on purpose. They're causing hyperinflation. So anyway, like I said, there's good news here. We're going to see major truth of real where the people we've been trying to wake up forever, they're going to now enter a mentality where they're much more malleable and open to truth because they're going to be forced to accept some, even though it's diet woke. And in that moment, we have an opportunity that we've never had before to reach a massive group of people while they're, adapting to the fact that they've been lied to about all kinds of stuff. We can tell them a whole lot of the truth. So this is a dangerous game they're playing, but they know that they have to leave themselves somewhat vulnerable to implement the full infrastructure. There is no doom and gloom, and that's what they want you to think, is be black-pilled. That way you don't think you can change anything. So continue to seek and speak truth no matter what, and you will be vindicated in the end. I will, like I said, be going live more frequently. I'll try to give y'all 30 to an hour minute heads up on here and like my Facebook and IG. So anyway, unplug from the box. It's a metaphorical ideological box. You just have to unplug, step back, and then reassess information without bias. Truth doesn't require your predisposition, and it certainly doesn't care about your emotions. DLive will not let me search Witsit Gets It. I don't know what to tell you. It should, but I posted the link earlier. Here, I'll just post the link one more time to DLive, which will be where we go. If YouTube starts to censor me, I do actually think we're on the brink of not being censored as much. So for whatever it's worth, this is the DLive link. So go follow it, because if my channel ever disappears, you'll know why. And I'm sure I'll cover some content regarding Israel here soon. So that's how you get kicked off. You got it in your vid description. Oh, there you go. It's in the vid description. Also, by the way, I'm shifting my email to a different type of email that's encrypted. So it'll be in the description, but I'm not big on Gmail. So Proton Mail. So it's Witsit at Proton Mail. And no, I probably won't respond to you if you send me emails from Gmail. So everyone, because if you, for example, like Proton Mail is encrypted, but if I send it to you and you have Gmail, then that can still be accessed as vulnerability. So just set up a Proton Mail account. It's free and it's encrypted. So you're not, communicating on the B system. It's time we slowly, migrate to encryption. And of course, I use the Brave browser. So look into the Brave browser, Proton Mail. Even start to try to inform yourself on some of these crypto blockchain, encryption technologies. It is the future. So there you go, food for thought. Yeah, and so virtual hug, much love, Mary Mom, you're a legend. I'll throw you a wrench next time here. Okay, yeah, here you go. See, Karen's on top of her game. Proton Mail, that's the way to go. So there's Karen's new Proton Mail. And yeah, anyway, seek and speak truth. I'll catch up with y'all and have a good one. Peace.